Hey, welcome to the Insider edition of the Upland Nation podcast. I'm Scott Linden, your host. Yeah, these are the every other week, I'll call them bonus episodes, a deeper dive into a single subject, special people, maybe even a hunting story or two from the field. This week, you're already planning your big road trip of the season. I know that. I asked you in the last newsletter. 54% of you said you're already laying plans. So let's touch on some ways you can afford that trip. So maybe if you haven't laid your plans yet, you'll be a little bit more inspired. If you have, you'll save a few bucks for all sorts of reasons. Who doesn't want to save a little money? Anyway, that's the topic this week. It's all made possible by CableGangz dog stakeout systems and Purina Pro Plan Sport dog food. Well, it's nice to know we have something in common. I'm already breaking out the calendar and the maps, looking at all the places I want to go this season, and some new stuff on the agenda. I'll keep you posted as the planning gets a little bit more firmed up. Always chasing blue skies and dry ground. I think I got some objectives already on the short list for that. You are planning too. I don't know where you're going yet, but like I said, more than half of you have already started your planning process. Well, we're lucky, aren't we? Number one, we're able to do that. We're rich, at least figuratively, in spirit, hopes and dog power, friends, and the chance to hunt in beautiful places. But even if your credit card account looks a little bit like mine, well, no, if your credit card is platinum colored, it doesn't matter. In between doesn't matter either. There's no point in squandering your hard-earned cash while you're following your dog or looking for places to go and share some time with friends and family, chasing wild birds. Well, whatever your spouse says or your credit card statement, there's probably a better chance than you think that you can afford an epic road trip. I know it's all in how you define epic. Probably doesn't include soft beds or ritzy brand names, but it could include new places, new friends, different bird species, whatever. Let's go somewhere fun and play with our dogs without breaking the piggy bank. All right, so let's first talk about preparation and planning. You know, like I don't remember who said it first, but preparation. No, what is it? Success is 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration. I would add another 10% for planning and preparation. Remember the Alice in Wonderland Cheshire Cat? When Alice was trying to find her way back to her house, she asked the cat, and he said, well, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And by its nature, that's what hunting is all about. Should be light on administrative chores, but if you're going without any plan, your shortcuts could probably turn into long detours. Now, the first part is pretty easy. You're planning on clouds of pheasants or multi-flush grouse days. Sometimes. But you got to pull your head out of the puffy white clouds and focus on a state or a region, even a town, or some kind of home base. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of those who did get a little more specific before you did. So what's the downside of not even picking your destination at some point early on? A lot of blaze orange dots in the same field you want to be in, or no motel rooms, or the closest gas station is 110 miles away. And of course, that all ramps up the price of your trip. And remember, we're here to save you money, not spend more. So let me give you an idea of my first trip to Montana. I had a kind of a vague idea of where I wanted to go, and then well, now I save money, time, and aggravation by arranging the basics well in advance. So I booked a little bit late, which meant I was eligible for that wonderful hotel term, dynamic pricing. When demand outstrips supply, prices go up. So if you're kind of trying to save a few bucks on the travel planning part of this trip, check some of those travel aggregator sites like Trivago. See if you can get a better deal there. You know, a lot of folks in the travel industry, I'm on the fringes of that, will tell you also check directly with the hotel or motel you want to go to. Sometimes that's the best deal. Call them, ask for their best rate. Seniors, AAA, military discount, whatever it is, make sure that that's included. And then, don't learn this one the hard way. Ask if there's a charge for pets. Now, I don't use it much, but I've had it offered to me a lot of times, and that is, oh, is it a service dog? Well, yeah. He's performing a great service for me. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The dog won't tell. Just don't abuse the privilege. Bring an extra sheet, lay it on the bed before your dog lays on the sheet. And then take a look at getting there. Let's talk about the trip from home to your destination. No, I've been pretty lucky. You've seen me. I've been able to hunt with governors and senators in ritzy resorts. I'll never forget a place in South Dakota. Or was it Illinois? Oh, or both. Now that I think of it. Every room had a jacuzzi tub, and in one of those, one or the other, I forgot which it was, had an ice bar. I'd never seen an ice bar back then. They were probably one of the leaders in that. But I've had just as much fun waking up in the back of my truck, cutting a dog loose and shooting sharp tails on a public national grassland. So, sure, it's okay to scrimp and save, but don't let all of that steal your hunting joy. Define what's important to you and set your sights accordingly. It probably includes big skies, the crunch of leaves underfoot, tinkling collar bell in the distance. And it certainly includes that adrenaline rush when the wings beat and your springer leaps after that rough grouse. The rest of it's pretty optional, or at least flexible. Now, I've spent a week, one night, in small towns all over this country waiting for a tow truck or a part. But that's what happens when you don't do a thorough workup on your rig before you set out. Have any repairs and maintenance done well in advance so that when they discover something else under the hood, you got time to take care of it at home. Amongst, maybe a bit more opportunities and options. There's not a lot of fun in making small talk with the tow truck driver who looks like he was an extra in a Mad Max movie. Take my word for it. And I'm prepared for anything. Somebody called my truck the four-wheel drive Swiss Army knife. So I've got a little bit of everything for me and for everybody else. The usual stuff. Extra fuel as well. I got a diesel, so I'm carrying diesel exhaust fluid. I got a spare serpentine belt because when you're in one of those towns, it's going to be a long time before one of those shows up. if that's what you need. All right, so the rig's ready, maintained, fluids topped, everything done. Nothing's going to fall off or blow up, at least as far as you know. And then let's look at how to find savings at our destination. I've talked about the travel aggregator sites and that sort of thing, but what about if you're going to camp, whether it's in a tent or an RV? If you're over, I think it's age 60 now, I'm not sure, get yourself an America the Beautiful pass. It's a national pass. I think it costs about $100 now, but it gets you into most federal campgrounds, national parks, monuments, etc., free. In some states, even the state parks will honor that thing. So you do the math, it doesn't take long for that to pay off. If you're an RVer, take a look at Good Sam or Passport America. That'll put some beer money in your pocket every time you stay. And along the way, instead of parking your RV in a spendy park, if all you're going to do is leave first thing in the morning, take a look at this outfit called Harvest Hosts. Again, costs you $100 or so, but you're able to stay overnight. That's all, no hookups most places. Stay overnight, free. Learn more about them at harvesthosts.com, I think. I don't know. You'll find it, Harvest Hosts. If you are camping at your destination, why not camp along the way? Save the cost of a hotel room, pack your own groceries, picnic along the way, bring your own happy hour fixins. Now there's some question about parking in Walmarts or Cracker Barrel parking lots anymore, but you can always ask. Of course, a lot of casinos, Elks clubs, fairgrounds, city parks, host travelers as well. I've had some great times in fairgrounds from Lewistown to, let's see, where was that one in Montana? The other one. Anyway, if you're really, really desperate, check out the fairgrounds along the way. Most of them have a little RV park. A lot of them do. And about finding cheap fuel, it's a contact sport now. So if you're listening to some of those radio ads about ways to get money back when you buy gas, yeah, look into some of those. Gas Buddy is one. There's a whole bunch of mobile apps now. Show you who's got the lowest prices or give you a discount or a rebate. My research tells me that an Indian reservation will usually share about half of what they don't pay in federal fuel taxes. So if you got a choice and you're in the area, that might be worth a look as well. And my wife will never let me forget this one, and I bring it up in the interest of your marital accord. Make a checklist before you leave. You want to save money along the way? Well, then don't leave without packing everything you need to pack. This is a fly fishing trip, but maybe that's why it was. I mean, it was early on in a launch of a business I had at the time, so I was a little distracted. But by the end of the commute from my house to the fishing spot, I'd had to, number one, I discovered, and then I had to rectify all of this. A wallet still on my nightstand, sleeping bags still in the house, tent in the garage, and fly rods in the garage. Well, if you want the whole checklist, go to findbirdhuntingspots.com and just search for the ultimate upland checklist. The only thing not in it is the semi-trailer you'll need to carry it all. Now, I'm not saying you buy everything in advance before you go on a road trip, because there's something to be said for buying locally. It's good business. It is economic development. The smaller the town, the bigger an impact you can have. It's thoughtful, it's considerate, and it may pay off in benefits. Local intel, maybe an invitation to hunt someone's private ground. I tell you all this because I think we lose sight sometimes of what hunting is really about, and it's not the luxe surroundings or the gourmet meals most of the time, especially if you're going with me. We go to spend time with good friends and family, watch the dog work, be in a beautiful place, maybe a new place. Those are the things that matter. Where you sleep and how you got there are definitely secondary to that. All right, you're listening to the Upland Nation podcast. I'm Scott Linden. We're halfway through my economizing while on the road discussion this week on the Insider episode. If you like what you're hearing, please tell your friends. Yeah, there's a bonus every other week on top of the regular podcast. We'll be back to talk about saving money while on the hunt right after a word from CableGangz. Now, they're our newest sponsor, and I just want to spell that for you so you can learn more about them than I can tell you in this short spot. Cable, GANGZ.com, CableGangz.com. Brennan and the crew they're dog people. And they're lots of dog people, if there is such a term. So they try everything they can and figure out what would make it better. At CableGangz, their claim to fame, they do a whole bunch of things, so you get over there and learn about them. But they do one thing way better than everybody else I've ever experienced in this world. Their gear is built so that it will last. For example, 4-inch heavy-duty solid brass snaps. They're the largest and the strongest in the industry. And you know when you're hammering in those stakes and you miss and you hit the D-ring attachment point? Well, there's our plasma cut of 1/4 inch plate welded to the swivel tube on both sides. So when your swing is a miss and it hits that instead, it ain't going to fall off like it does so many times with some of the competitors. Yeah, learn more about what they're doing over there and why they're doing it, and you will be able to relate just like I have at CableGangz.com. And when you're on the road, you want to feed Purina Pro Plan Sport dog food. I do, and it works extremely well. High protein formula, real meat as the first ingredient. It's 100% complete and balanced nutrition for highly active dogs. Yeah, it tastes good too. At least if you look at your dog while he's eating it, you'll figure that out real quick. And that's exactly what you need when you're traveling. Yeah, add to your list, your packing list, extra Pro Plan Sport dog food so that your dog is ready to hunt when you are. All right, welcome back to the Upland Nation podcast, the Insider edition, where I'm talking about saving a buck here or there. Most of this stuff I learned the hard way. Maybe you did too. When you're hunting, sometimes the best way to economize is to spend a little money. But that's because so many of us fall into the trap of not putting any value in our time. Yeah, we're not writing ourselves a check when we waste time doing something that is kind of a dumb idea. Like wandering the countryside in search of access or good habitat. You know, that's penny wise and pound foolish if a pro guide might be the cheapest way to get you into birds if time is of the essence. You drive 3 days to get to South Dakota, and then you just poke around at random looking for good stuff that's accessible, well, a guide or a trespass fee may be the way to go. Especially if you can learn from that guide, ask the questions, make the notes, learn the lay of the land, watch where the birds are, translate that to your next stop and your next stop after you've tipped the guide well that afternoon. You know, in a lot of bird hunting towns, the Chamber of Commerce will keep a list of local landowners who provide access, and often that price is pretty darn good. I've seen it go from $25 to $100, but if you've driven from Los Angeles to Montana to have a stellar pheasant hunt, you spent more than that in coffee. A lot of farm families operate a bread and breakfast of some sort, and the price includes access to their ground. Over the years, I've stayed in former convents, yurts and wall tents, plywood shacks, RVs parked in tractor sheds. They're all less expensive than traditional lodging options. And if you're trying to save a buck or two, again, we're not there for the luxe accommodations. We're there for the hunting. Have you found any local friends in the area? You know, whether you're a dog club member, conservation group member, fraternal organization, friend of a friend, relatives, of course. Now, some of them can help. Some of them probably won't be able to help. They're not hunters or whatever. They might put you on to somebody else. And whoever helps, don't forget to return the favor somehow. All right, if you're going to hunt public access ground, probably check it out in a couple ways. Use a good paper map if you like that sort of thing. A mobile app with satellite photos, even better. Yeah, I like those because I can look at the big picture, pardon the pun, and find all the nearby public spots. So I can lay a plan based on what I see and how close together they are. So I'm saving a little gas. I'm saving a lot of time. If I have no luck at spot number 1, it's a short drive to spot number 2. And here's a trick I learned a long time ago. I go as far away from camping or where I'm lodged first thing in the morning. Yeah, you can leave as early as you want. You're there when shooting hours start. And then when you work your way to those other spots, you're getting closer and closer to camp and happy hour. You know, again, these places where we like to go, some of the lodging facilities have some sort of a hunter's special. It could be free breakfast or a happy hour or lodging discounts. Ask for them, even if they're not advertised. Don't forget to ask for the cash price. Yeah, some more and more companies are, upcharging for a credit card. Well, then they should downcharge for cash. At the Chambers of Commerce and Visitors Bureaus, I'll be handed an envelope full of discount coupons for everything from lodging to car washes, you name it. And once you've found that spot, stay put. Yeah, if you're roaming from town to town, you're siphoning time from your hunt and you're spending more on fuel. So find a location where you can, like the spokes of a wheel, go this way today, that way tomorrow, that way the next day. You probably will get a better rate, nightly rate, maybe a weekly rate. And in RV parks, a weekly rate can save you, hell, I've saved up to 50% off the nightly rate. So even if you have to leave early, it might pencil out. If you bring enough friends, like a lot of friends, then a hotel might comp you a room night or two for doing all the marketing for them. That's a big group. But sometimes it's the right idea. Don't hesitate to ask. Camping on most state and federal land is cheap or free, and some of it's right there in prime hunting territory. It happens. I've shut the door on one of my RVs, walked 50 yards and killed quail or chukars on Bureau of Land Management property. It doesn't happen often, but I am going back to those spots this season. So instead of staying in a pricey hotel down the road, which would have taken time and money, I spent the savings on that jug that I had to go help empty with the guy across the river who was yelling at me because he thought I was trespassing. You know, somewhere on the findbirdhuntingspots.com website, there's a list of most of the public agencies that offer hunting access, and it's way longer than you think it is. It's everybody from the Bureau of Reclamation to state school lands. Take a look at that, and then take a longer look at your map and start exploring some of the access beyond Forest Service and BLM. Now, this one gets one more trip each season out of my bank account, and that's how I justify it to my wife. There are a lot of states that will sell you a non-resident annual hunting license. If you buy it at the right time, it'll get you the tail end of that season and the beginning of the next season. It's academic for me. I'm always going back more than once. But that's one way to look at those, especially if you've found a place you're going to go back to. Hey, some of those even offer fishing license in the same package, a threefer. Of course, at our house, my savings are translated into, well, then I can get another pair of shoes on sale. Well, let me close with this, and I hope I've saved you a buck or two, or will save you a buck or two. Confusion. There's a Freudian slip. Confucius is probably the one who said, "He who will not economize will have to agonize." Yeah, he's almost always right. Being a skinflint is a character flaw, especially if you've just bellied up to the bar. Go there, drink good local beer, tip the band, find a decent ribeye, and share it with your dog at the end of the day. Save a few bucks so you can enjoy the finer things that add spice to the hunting stew, texture and richness to your life. And while your dog may not agree all the time, I think you're worth it. Hey, we're brought to you by CableGangz.com, CableGangz.com, and Purina Pro Plan Sport.com. That's ProPlansport.com. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, please tell somebody about it, and please leave a rating or a review at Apple Podcasts. I'm Scott Linden. Plenty more like this at findbirdhuntingspots.com. Thanks for listening to the Upland Nation Insider Podcast.